The one thing you have to understand about getting in shape and staying in shape forever is that it is solely reliant on your diet and nutrition. Yeah, working out and supplements and cardio and water intake and all that stuff, it is important, but it's a very small piece of the puzzle compared to your diet and nutrition, which makes up about 80 to 90% of the equation. So if you don't have the right strategy or systems when it comes to your diet and nutrition, and then you don't have the proper discipline to actually follow those systems, you are never going to actually be able to get in shape or stay in shape forever. The guys that I talk to who are trying to get in shape and they're stuck, it's because they have absolutely no idea what they are doing and they're focusing on usually the wrong things. When you see someone who's in amazing shape, most of the time people will think, oh, that guy must work out 2 times per day. He must live in the gym. And yeah, of course, the people who are in amazing shape go to the gym and work out regularly, but that's not the reason they look the way they look. They have very detailed systems and strategies, and they have an actual plan when it comes to their macronutrients and their micronutrients and the daily foods that they're eating. And that is the reason they look the way they look. So, in this video, I'm going to be breaking down exactly how to eat in the proper way and how to go about this so you never have to guess again. You never have to be lost again. You will know exactly what to eat, when to eat it, how much of it to eat. And this way, you can have an actual plan and strategy in place so that you can finally get into better shape and you can actually stay in shape for the rest of your life. Now, when it comes to doing this the right way, it really all comes down to numbers and data. Everything has to be calculated in the right way so that you actually know exactly what you're doing. You're not guessing. You have an actual plan, and you can take these numbers and you can implement them into what you're eating on a daily basis. And then that's going to allow you to make progress. So, in this video, I'm mainly going to be talking about macronutrients, which are your proteins, carbs, and fats. And these are the numbers that you really need to be focusing on when it comes to looking a certain way, burning body fat, building muscle, and ultimately getting your dream body. Now, most people understand what protein, carbs, and fats are, but they don't understand how to properly go about building out your plan, putting together the proper strategy when it comes to these three numbers to actually make amazing progress. And it really just comes down to simple calculations that are worked in reverse from your specific body weight. Each macronutrient has to be adjusted based on how much you weigh and what your goal is. Now, my clients don't have to do any of this calculation stuff. I do it all for them. And that is the power of having a coach, having someone that has years of experience that can just do the work for you and basically put your plan and customized strategy on a silver platter where all you have to do is follow it and you don't have to think about a thing. You don't have to do any of this quick math or calculations and stuff. You just follow the plan and you make progress. And that's why my clients always make the most amount of progress because they were willing to invest in a coach. They were willing to say, I don't know how to do this. I don't want to guess anymore. I don't want to be lost and confused. I'm just going to have someone that actually knows what they're doing do it for me so I can stop spinning my wheels and I can actually make progress and I can finally get my dream body. But if you want to do this on your own, it's pretty simple. All you have to do is start out with your body weight, and then you just have to do a few calculations for each number. Now, I'll quickly review what the calculations are, but that's not as important as what you do with those numbers. You can have those numbers, and at the end of the day, if you don't know what to do with those numbers, that's not going to mean anything. So once I teach you how to get these three numbers that you'll need every single day, I'm actually going to teach you what to do with those numbers and how to actually eat and how to structure your full day of eating, what foods to eat, when to eat it, so that you can actually have a real plan in place. Now, I'm going to take my handy dandy calculator on my phone and I'm just going to go about this as if I were creating a plan for one of my clients. Like I said, I do all of this fully customized for each of my clients. And let's say that this client is 200 pounds and his goal is to get lean, burn body fat while also building muscle. Yes, you can build muscle while burning fat. A lot of people think that's a myth. If you do what I show you properly and you actually follow it and you lift weights consistently in the gym and get stronger, you can 100% burn body fat and get lean while building muscle and attain that lean, athletic, muscular look that you want. Now, let's say this guy is 200 pounds. And the first thing we're going to need to do is find out how much protein he needs to eat every single day in order to build muscle, burn fat, boost his metabolism while staying full. So, what we're going to do is we're going to multiply his body weight by 1.2, and that's going to tell us how many grams of protein he needs every single day. So, in this case, it's 240 grams of protein. The next number we're going to need to find out is how many grams of fat he needs. And fat is really important because too much of it is going to slow down your metabolism and you're not going to be able to burn as much fat as efficiently. But also, if you have too little, it's going to crash your hormones. You're going to be starving all day. You're not going to have enough energy or brain function throughout the day to properly function. Now, the calculation we're going to do for this is we're going to take his body weight, which is 200, and we're going to multiply it by zero point 0.3. And that's going to give us 60 grams of fat that he needs to eat every single day. Now, when it comes to carbs, we're going to start out with just 1 gram of carb per pound of body weight. And over time, we're going to slowly adjust the carbs week by week by also manipulating the cardio. This is where strategized weekly optimizations from a coach will allow you to make the most amount of progress. But in this video, I'm going to basically teach you how to be your own coach so that you can make the best decisions for your own system. So obviously, this guy is 200 pounds, 1 gram per pound of body weight is going to be 200. So that means he needs to eat 200 grams of carbs every single day. So that adds up to 240 grams of protein, 200 grams of carbs, and 60 grams of fat every single day as a starting point. Now, what do you do with these numbers? How do you structure your full day of eating? And what foods do you eat every single day in order to get the most out of this strategy and make the most amount of progress as possible? So, first, you want to start out by understanding you should be eating at least 4 full meals per day. You should not be snacking. This is going to allow you to get a sufficient amount of protein evenly distributed throughout the day so that we can spike protein synthesis, which is going to allow you to build muscle and recover from your workouts. Also, if we're evenly distributing the total amount of calories and the total macros across the whole day, rather than just kind of having small meals, big meals here, and it's kind of all over the place, what this is going to allow you to do is optimize your digestion, which is going to boost your metabolism, which is going to allow you to get the most out of these numbers and ultimately make the most progress possible. As you can see, everything I do is always optimized to make the most amount of progress as possible because obviously making progress is the reason we're doing all of this in the first place. So, what you're going to do is you're going to take all three of your macros and you're going to divide each of them by 4. And then that's going to be your macros for each meal. So, you're going to have 4 total meals throughout the whole day, and each one is going to have the same amount of macros per meal. So in this case, this specific client is going to have 4 meals per day, and each meal is going to have 60 grams of protein, 50 grams of carbs, and 15 grams of fat. And when it comes down to what actual types of foods you should be eating, at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter as much as the macros. The numbers from the macros are far more important than the types of foods you're eating. But I still like to have my clients stick to mostly whole, single ingredient foods, not as processed, things that are loaded with micronutrients, vitamins, and minerals, because this is going to allow them to feel better as well as look better. It's going to optimize their digestion. It's going to be easier to boost their metabolism. They're going to sleep better. And overall, they're just going to feel better. They're going to have more energy. Their hormones are going to be more optimized so that they can both look good and feel good. So for protein, I stick to chicken breast, lean ground beef, sirloin steak, eggs, protein powder, shrimp, or non fat Greek yogurt. For carbs, you always want to use something that's easily digestible, things like jasmine rice, potatoes that can be regular russet potatoes or sweet potatoes, oatmeal, or even some sourdough bread. And then fruit is also a great carb source. You definitely want to make sure you're getting enough fruit. And then for fats, You will be getting some fat from red meat if you're eating it or whole eggs, but you can also add in things like almond butter or peanut butter, extra virgin olive oil, nuts, things like almonds are really good, or avocado. So, to wrap this up and just give you a quick summary so you know exactly what to do, you're gonna take your body weight, use the calculations that I showed you to know exactly what your daily macros are. You're gonna take those daily macros and you're gonna divide each one into four. So then you have your macros for each meal. And then you're gonna take your list of whole single ingredient foods that you're gonna be eating on a daily basis and you're gonna put together meals that you can enjoy, that are easy to put together, and that actually match the macros for each meal. You're going to use a food scale and a calorie tracking app to make sure that each ingredient adds up for the whole meal to match the macros that you need for that meal. And then over time, as you track your progress based on your body weight, how you look in the mirror, and how your clothes fit, you can make adjustments to these macros by manipulating the carbs. You always want to make sure the protein and the fat stays the same, and you can manipulate the carbs by slowly tapering down the carbs each week. I like to usually reduce the carbs by about 20 grams per week or every other week. And by doing that, you're going to allow your body to properly adjust and to consistently make progress. If you see a stall or a plateau in progress, that means that you just need a little bit less carbs. And then that's going to allow your metabolism to stay boosted and your body to properly adapt to the meal plan that you're following every single day. And this strategy is going to allow you to have an actual system in place, an actual plan to follow where you're not guessing, you're not following some weird trendy diet that you saw on Instagram. You know exactly what you're doing because you're paying attention to the data. You're making weekly or bi weekly optimizations, and you actually have confidence that you're moving in the right direction and you're heading towards your dream body. Now, if this seems like something that you just don't want to do on your own and you'd rather have a coach with years and years of experience do it all for you and make those weekly and bi weekly optimizations for you so that you don't even have to worry about a thing. You don't have to think about if you're making the calculations right, if you're making the right optimizations at the right time, and you'd rather just have someone be there with you, hold your hand, and make sure that you will 100% attain your dream body and actually be able to maintain that progress for the rest of your life, then I'd love to have a quick chat with you and see if my one on one coaching is a good fit for your specific situation. You get fully customized, high level nutrition and training strategies with the weekly optimizations. We do blood work analysis, custom supplementation, lifestyle systems and habits. Will focus on your gut health, brain function, get you burning fat, building muscle, increasing your energy, focus, and mood so that you look better, feel better, and ultimately can become the most optimized version of yourself. If that sounds like something you're interested in, you can DM me on Instagram by clicking the link in the description. We can have a quick chat and see if it's a good fit for you.